What I'm gonna do is show you around my new homestead, and it is sweltering hot in Florida. So if anybody wants to move to Florida, because a lot of people think they do, I hope you love to sweat, like just dripping sweat. Because if you don't, you should choose a different state. I like to just start off with that because it is so hot in Florida. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you around and I'm just gonna show you things we've been working on, which is quite a few things, and I'm so excited. These pecan trees, when we moved here, I was overjoyed that I even had pecan trees. Very, very, very old pecan trees. And so I've been fertilizing them and they look fantastic. They look so good now. The second thing we've been working on here are these side courtyard steps. All that lumber I saved, I worked so hard to save, to when I tore down my porch. Scott was like, don't save it, just burn it, just burn it. I'm like, no, it's good wood. I'm not burning it. I love wood because I love to make things. I was like, you're going to ruin my courtyard having this platform and then the stairs coming out. But Scott looked it up and he just did the sideways stairs, which I actually love. I like the side, I can live with it. Let's just put it that way. And he did such a good job on it. And what makes me love it is my son built it. It's so nice when your kids grow up and then they start doing stuff. I never would have moved to a homestead this big if I was by myself because it's just too much work for one person. But since we're doing it together, no problem. It really makes a difference. So that was the plan. Can you see I'm just dripping with sweat in Florida? You don't even have to do anything. Okay, so up here, it's like a little lookout now. So it's not too bad. This is going to be my courtyard in here. Can't wait to build my courtyard. As you can see, it's like the beginning steps. It's already messy in the courtyard. When you first move somewhere, it's kind of hard to get your feel and what's going to work and what's not. So a lot of times you got to kind of map it out and just see, live with it for a little while and see. And that's what I did with my garden. And so since I know I love it, I've been moving bigger rocks over here. Big, huge rocks, which I love. It just looks so cute. I like rocks and I like flowers and gardens. And so this isn't a huge garden, but you're going to be surprised how much I grow in here. It's not huge. I've started with flowers. Here's some nice flowers down the end here. And I love these little things because the butterflies like them, which is so nice. So I got to show you this over here. I've made 3 attempts to grow a fig tree. Never worked. My old property never worked. They always died. So I bought this fig. It was kind of the sickly fig, so it was cheap. Sometimes you can get them like that if you pay attention and go often enough. So I planted this fig tree in the ground. I'm amazed how happy it is. I've never planted a fig tree, and it was just like, boop, turned so happy. So that, I'm overjoyed with the fig tree. But I did look up how to trim fig trees and all. And they're not the most attractive trees, although they obviously produce food, so we're not going just for attractiveness. We're going for practicality as well. So at first I was like, I'll just stick it in the ground here for now, and then maybe I'll move it over to the side of my house by the horse side. But it's so happy, I'm like, don't touch it. So I don't think I'm gonna move it. I'll just keep it pruned and just love it for the thing it is, producing food. Okay, so here we go. My garden's kind of messy because at this point in the year, it's very hard to work in the garden because it is so hot. I'll just come out in the evenings or whatever. If I do too much in the morning, you're so hot and worn out. By the evenings, you don't really want to go out. All right, so let me show you over here. Now Scott's going to obviously build his own little house. Let me twirl back around. Scott's going to build his own little house on the left side there of my cabin. So it'll be my little cabin, courtyard, and then Scott's little tiny house. That's how we're going to do it. So for now, he's over here. I don't want to twirl too fast. Like, phew. Now he's over here. He still wants his space, and he's gung-ho to get it, and I don't blame him, So this shed was on the property when we first moved here. At first I didn't like it, and it's so funny. I just love this thing now. Whoever built it did a great job on it. So there's that. Now let me show you the cube. He also wanted a cube, which we've been dying to get one, so we just decided to start out small. And so right now, that's like just storage in there. I must tell you, that cube is an oven. You definitely have to insulate, and unless you want it to only be 6 feet wide inside and nice and cool, the smart way to do it is put all the thick insulation and siding on the outside. Otherwise, you're left, if you try to insulate on the inside, you're just going to be left with a hallway. So, with both doors open, you know, with the end open where all the light can get in, I'm surprised how cozy it feels when you go in there. So obviously one end has to be glass. And then there you go. Nice little cube, not too expensive. You can do a lot with it. And let me see what else I can tell you what's been going on. Of course, in Florida, we have our huge storm, so everything's blowing and yikes. I can't even tell when I'm in my cabin, though. That's one reason I love it. So this branch is kind of broken, hanging, and it looks like a little branch. You're just like, oh, that's a little nothing branch. But the big branch, once it's on the ground, it is amazing how big the branch is. Because I'm just like, oh, it's nothing, you know, get it down. We'll just drag it over to the fire. No, nobody's dragging that thing. It's huge, huge branch. And of course, it landed in my little, I think they're Carmela bushes over there. I trimmed them all up, worked so hard, and it's like, of course, the branch has to fall in that, right? Okay, and you know, I got to give you a shot of my lantern tree. My pride and joy. Love that thing. So we've just been spending a lot of time cleaning up. This property is a very nice piece of property, but for years, nobody trimmed, picked up fallen branches, you know, basically just kept it pretty clean so you can mow. So that's like, whew, we've been spending a lot of time doing that. And the thing about that is, if you don't keep it pretty clean and mowed, you will have a gazillion bugs. And of course, who wants a gazillion bugs? Like, I don't. The only one that does is Bubby, my guinea. Bubby's like, raises her hand. She's like, I want a gazillion. There's a little robin right over there. I can see it. It's down on the ground in front of the bench there. The little robin, I enjoy the wildlife so much. We're under lantern tree now, which is so beautiful under here. Nice and cool. I have my little chairs over there. I kind of the pain is you got to move all that when you're mowing. But it's worth it to have a beautiful sitting area under, you know, a beautiful shady tree. Although it doesn't look like the most gorgeous thing when you're up close. You're like, oh, that thing's kind of rough looking, but that's just the way cedar trees look. And let me just walk up here, because this little cedar tree was literally like a weed next to a cherry tree that we had cut down when we first moved here. And I am just dumbfounded how fast it's been growing. Once a plant finds roots and it's happy, look out, it's going to take off. This thing has literally grown 8 feet. It was like knee-high practically. I'm so pleased with it. So I'm trying to keep all the weeds away from it and everything. And my little lemon tree, which I'm going to move over in my garden, I think. Can you see how many lemons are on it? It's so funny. This little tiny tree. If you prune properly, you will get a lot of fruit on your tree, even if it's small. I love my lemon tree. I've had it about, I don't know, I think 3 years now. And it's just so happy. Of course, I do prune and fertilize. Just like I said, I do the pecan trees. I looked up how to do it. Every tree is different. So the lemon tree is different than the pecan trees over there, which is different than the fig tree over there. So if you want to grow food successfully, you do have to do the research and you have to learn how to do it. You don't just wing it. You're just like start clipping and throwing whatever fertilizer on there, because pruning is important. These fruit trees, they like to be pruned a certain way. But if you do it, you can see the success, you know, it's worth it. So I spend time doing that, obviously. Looking stuff up and investigating. Which to me is exciting because I love homesteading. I just love homesteading so much. Being outside, even though it's hot, you sweat to death. Who cares? All right, I built my kayak rack too. That's another thing I was doing. I just need them the same exact height as my tailgate. So if I back my truck up to that, I can just slide those kayaks off that rack right into the back of my truck. And it makes it so easy. So there's no lifting. And when I come home, same thing. Just slide them off the back of the truck right onto that rack. Okay, so over here, I've just been cleaning up as well over time. And, you know, just tweaking. You know what I mean? Making it nicer, better once you build something. So I have to show you Neil's pen. Where is Neil? Oh, he's over there in his little tree, little group of trees. So I built this pen super fast because we had to move here. Built everything super fast. So I've been going around, you know, just kind of tweaking what we have. And the one thing I built good, I didn't have to change at all, is Neil's house. He loves his house. Can you hear him? Hi, Neil. Neil is extra sweet and loves his mommy. So anyway, I started cleaning out around this little tree area, and he loves that little tree area. He just goes around and around and, you know, looks for his little, I'll throw a handful of whole corn in there, and he'll just go around, snooting around, looking for his little pieces of corn. And he's a little chubby, but he's coming for a walk with me in the mornings. Yes, Neil. I don't know. I don't know if I can show you this. Let me turn it around. Every morning we go for a walk. He has to run his nose all the way down my leg. I don't know why he does it. I don't know if that's a pig hello. Very gently. He's like feeling my leg with his little snoot there. All the way down my leg. And then he'll gently like nibble on my shoelaces and pull them. I'm like, okay, Neil, I love you. I'm like, let's go. I know you're so cute, Neil. I know. You know Mommy loves you, don't you? You want to touch my leg again with your nose? He's like, I do. He's sniffing it. You're so funny. Are you trying to be nice to me? I pet you, and is that a piggy pet back? You're so funny. He got a little chubby. I spoiled him a little too much, so he comes for my walk with me in the morning for health and exercise. But it was so cute. He follows me the whole way. Him and Mario follow me the best. But the cat follows me. Fifi follows me. It's just so funny. I look back and it's like the little group of crazies. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you what I did in here. Which, oh my gosh, this was so hard to build by myself. And in a hurry when I first got here. Oh my gosh, but I was just love my horses so much. I'm like, I got to do it. So then after a while, I'm noticing, I'm like, they never come in the back. Like, it drives me insane. I'm like, I built it this big, and it's nice, it's square, it's clean. And I'm like, why don't they come back here? So then I was thinking, well, I think horses don't really want to live in the woods. So I'm like, there was a bunch of just scrubby little baby trees. You know, these I kept. These 2 cedar trees, because they have a chance of getting big. I always look up, and you know, if there's no room for them to grow, what's the point? You know, these big, old trees, you know, just crowd everything out. Look who's touching me. Sky Thunder, are you touching me? You're a good boy. He's like, what are you doing in here, Mommy? He's like, you got any food? Because that's all I care about. All right, so what I did is I came back here and I just started lopping off the little trees, because I'm like, I don't think they like to be within the little trees. They want to just have room. And then I did spray, I hate to spray, but I did spray a little bit of, you know, weed killer, just because it's so hard to take back land that hasn't been used in a long time, and you want to use it. I don't want to abuse it, but I want to use it. Because as you can see, this pasture, which I have to do all this next to this pasture over here, this is kind of what this looked like. And of course, they don't come back here on this one either. And this is, you know, a pretty big pasture for them. But they only go up front. So you would think, oh, that looks like nothing back there. It'll be lickety-split. You can clean that up. No, it is so much work chopping down those little trees. I use a machete, which is pretty easy. But they're always so much bigger once they're on the ground. You have to drag them out of there. And then I drag them all the way back up there to the cube to burn them. So, whew, a lot of work. But as you can see, when I get back here, well, I can tell they're back here now, which makes me happy. This is like the shady spot. And then, you know, it's pretty good sized pasture back here, which is basically my dry lot, mostly for my mule. Mules cannot eat 24/7. They will get so fat, you won't be able to do anything with them. And so then over this way, eventually, everything's eventually, because let me tell you this, I'm so proud of me and Scott. We've owned this property 2 years. We are mortgage free. Whew, that was some suffering, in a sense, not really suffering. Okay, so over here is a very nice property. I'm trying to claim, you know, scoot this wood line back just a little and claim a lot of this so I can use it, which I really like. Okay, so what we did is we took out a 10-year mortgage and then just did not spend a penny anywhere unless we absolutely had to. Like, I'm talking like scrounging, just like all business, like be on a mission and just pay the mortgage off. We were both mortgage free before we moved here, so we wanted to be mortgage free again over here. You know, we did want to come to a bigger property, but then again, we didn't want to come to a bigger, like, upgrade to a mortgage. We were like, what's the point, you know? So we worked so hard and just did it. That's all I can say is we made it happen. We did it. So again, 2 years later, after owning our beautiful homestead park, we're mortgage free. All right, so that's one thing we've been working on, because, you know, sometimes you're like, well, what have you been doing all this time? And it's like, it truly is very hard to just stay home and work and just pay all your money to a big bill. It's actually really hard to do. It's hard mentally to stay focused that long. You know, after a while, you're just like, oh, I'm sick of this. But no, it is, you know, very worthwhile. You have to really be on a mission to get mortgage free. But then you just feel so free. You feel your life is freer. You're happier. You're more free. And, it doesn't seem like it at the time that it's going to be worth it, but it's very, very worth it. And so step one to that is, if you do want to upgrade a bit or just get a bigger property for more privacy like we did, that's basically the only reason. We wanted more just personal privacy. So if you want to do that as well, let me assure you, don't go too big. It's harder to pay it off, and let me assure you, it is so expensive to fence it in. And then it is a lot of upkeep, so much upkeep. So even if you have a bunch of kids and you're like, oh, we're gonna do it as a family, it's like those kids grow up and move away, you know what I mean? And so you still will be stuck with all of that yourself. Once it gets run down, like this place was kind of, I don't know if you'd call it run down, but I want to say neglected or whatever, just not kept up on. Ooh, it is like triple the work to get it back going really nice. Okay, so this is the other pasture. I just wanted to walk in here and show you how nice it is. It's just such a nice pasture. And I deliberately designed all my pastures and all my horse stuff to be, I can look out those 3 windows and look down here and see my horses, which I absolutely love that. That just like makes me so happy. You know, it's just like things you have to do that aren't fun. They're not fun things, but you know, in the beginning, that's how it is. You know, you have to get certain things done. It's almost like laying the foundation. You know, it's not really fun, but if you don't do that part right, you know, the rest doesn't come together good. So that's what we've been doing, just like working on that. All right, so I'm gonna turn the camera back around here. And I'm gonna come down here. Now this down here, we knew, obviously, when we bought the property, there was this old burnt out trailer down here. We knew it was down here. It wasn't like a surprise, obviously, you could see it. It was this old burnt out trailer. What a mess that was. It was such a mess. We couldn't even tackle it ourselves. Like some jobs, if they're too big, it's worth getting a professional to do it because they have all the equipment, all the machinery, and they can come and do it in a day, which would take you, honestly, a year to do it yourself. So, and plus it would be so hard, you know, such hard work, and forget it. Like some things it's worth having the professionals come and do. And since I've lived so long in this town, it's like I know all the guys with all the equipment. Like, so, you know, you're happy to give them local people business as well. But this is what it looks like now. The grass is all growing in. I said save those rocks. So we have this little rock pile here, which I'm going to use all these rocks eventually. So as you can see, it looks really good now. All the grass is coming in slowly. Well, actually pretty quickly. And then, ta-da, that's it. Homestead Park. There's still a lot to do, but we'll get there, slow but sure. And it is a journey. You know, owning a homestead's a journey. It's not, you know, snap your fingers, move in, ready. So that's not what we want. Like some people want that. They want to just move into this luxurious place all done up and they're like, yeah, we're homesteaders. And it's like, not really. You're bought homesteaders. You're not homestead developers. So we enjoy that part of it. So we don't mind, but you know, we like to let people know how much work is involved in reality. No like phony baloney stuff showing the glitter. It's like, it's blood, sweat, and tears. But it's worth it, and it's very satisfying. All right, well, thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Happy homesteading. Bye-bye.